Bonjour, mes amis. I guess with this thing on my head, you've got some idea where we're going. We're headed for Quebec. And this toque on my head was very popular in France several centuries ago, but the people that made it really popular here in Canada were the voyageurs, those paddlers of the fur trade. And the other point that I want to make here in this video is if you know someone from a place, like we were lucky enough to know someone from Montreal, it's a great advantage. You'll see a whole lot more and appreciate a whole lot more if there's someone from the area who can take you around. We're going to look at some of the history of Montreal and some of the buildings. It's a great city. So come on, get your paddle in the water and let's go. Montreal, big city, international in scope, cosmopolitan and multicultural, French-Canadian in nature. Second biggest city in Canada, and in 1860 it was the largest city in North America, bigger than New York or Chicago or San Francisco or LA. The Quebec provincial flag, not a British emblem on it. Highway signs were standard, but they were in French. As a limited English-only one-language speaker, I had to pay a little more attention, but driving was basically not a problem. Our first stop was at St. Joseph's here. People come here to pray, meditate, and seek spiritual healing. People pray and make donations to the church. You can see the lone person in the lower left corner of this photo who is deep in meditation. A lot of people could be accommodated at St. Joseph. Although the French language is predominant, Montreal is a big city, and English existed in many places. Other languages existed as well, since Montreal is a large urban and modern area. Our next stop was at this bike shop, where some people in our little group rented a bike if they didn't have one of their own. Here is the guy here in the yellow bike helmet that I was talking about earlier in the introduction of this travelogue. My friend John is a lifelong Montrealer who loved to show off his magnificent city. He biked everywhere on the narrow downtown streets, something we never would have done on our own. At this statue of Maisonneuve, right in the downtown, is also an engraving of the 5-day battle of Long Sault Rapids on the Ottawa River. Dollard and his men martyred themselves by stopping the Iroquois from destroying Montreal. Dollard and a handful of Huron, Algonquin, and French soldiers battled overwhelming odds. Although all of the Dollard party was killed, the Iroquois suffered so many losses that they decided to not attack the small settlement of Montreal. Today, Dollard and his defenders are regarded as martyrs and heroes who sacrificed their lives for the sake of Montreal. The 15-kilometer long historic Lachine Canal runs right along the downtown area, and we biked along most of it. Lachine is the French word for China, Sheen, China. When the first explorers came, they found the big rapids in the St. Lawrence River. Searching for a way to the faraway Orient, they mistakenly thought they were in China or near China, so they named the rapids the China Rapids or Lachine Rapids. When a canal was built later around the rapids in the 1820s, it was called the Lachine Canal, and it connected the North American interior to the Atlantic Ocean. thus creating tremendous growth in the Montreal area. Here are a couple of those red Adirondack chairs that Parks Canada has placed in almost every national park and historic site across the country. Their purpose is to provide a place to sit and rest and relax and have pleasant conversations with others. The canal is a nice, pleasant, peaceful place today, but like I said, I think before, historically, it was not always such a peaceful place because the French and the English competed for furs and control of the new found continent. This diagram shows how the Indian nations sided with the newly arrived Europeans. The Mohawk, the Huron and Algonquians sided with the French, whereas the Mohawk and the most powerful Iroquois nation were enemies of the Huron, and they sided with the English. The vertical black lines indicate friendship between those groups. For example, between the French and the Hurons, and then between the English and the Iroquois. The red lines indicate a hostile relationship between the two groups. If you look on the lower left of the diagram, under the word Hurons is Chief Kondiaronk, and he actually encouraged French Iroquois hostilities to protect his own people. It meant that the Hurons' traditional and more powerful enemies, the Iroquois, would be consumed with the French. That meant the Iroquois would have to leave the Hurons alone. This strategy was successful until near the time of his death, when he finally arranged peace between the Iroquois and the French. This peace enabled the French to pursue free fur trade away all across and occupied lands across the continent, as far south as New Orleans and west to almost the Pacific Ocean. Today, names, French names like in North America, Louisiana, New Orleans, in Saskatchewan, Qu'Appelle, the Qu'Appelle River and Qu'Appelle Valley, names like Coeur d'Alene and Pend d'Oreille in Idaho are all French because of the spreading vast French fur trade empire that existed after peace was made with the Iroquois. Like in many big cities, rental of regular bikes and e-bikes is available. I even saw e-scooters on the bike trails. Here is an elevated walkway built for bike traffic as well as for pedestrians. It's a great biking area, particularly along the Lachine Canal, but there are many other trails in Montreal. The canal itself was replaced by deepening the river for larger ocean-going ships by the St. Lawrence Seaway project, which was completed in the late 1950s. Do you recognize this innovative apartment design that became a symbol of the 1967 Montreal World Exposition? It was designed to provide both privacy and space for the sun and fresh air for each apartment dweller. Touted as a design for future urban living, it really never caught on to any extent after Expo 67. Lachine, which is a suburb of Montreal today, was also the headquarters of the Hudson Bay Company during its heyday in the fur trade. This Hudson Bay blanket became a symbol for this all-powerful corporation. The Hudson Bay Company merged with its rival, the Northwest Company, and George Simpson, the so-called Little Emperor of the fur trade, dominated the fur trade for a lifetime. It was the era of the famous voyageurs, young male canoe paddlers who were both young and energetic, and who left friends and family to be at home and at peace in the wilderness. The main route was between Montreal and the north end of Lake Superior. The voyageurs paddled 50 strokes per minute on average, then paused for a pipe smoke every dozen miles. Each voyageur carried a 180-pound fur pack over portages, and as a group they also carried their 600-pound canoes over the many land portages between water. The Hudson Bay Company is no longer the dominant corporation it once was. Today, other institutions, like the Bank of Montreal and others, have replaced it. The Bank of Montreal, founded in 1817, is Canada's oldest incorporated bank. Served as Canada's national bank until it was replaced by the Bank of Canada in 1935. The interior of the bank was indeed exquisite. It seemed like everything inside it was made of marble and gold. In the tourist shops, we kept seeing these t-shirts designed toward Quebec humor. In a big city like Montreal, fast food is always available. This is a Quebec version of fast food. Most maple syrup in Canada is produced in Quebec. Another shirt showed tourists how it is really made. There are so many things to see in a city the size of Montreal that we had to make more than one travelogue. So maybe you've seen the other one or two. If not, by all means, join us there. Hit the subscribe button if you want to know when we're putting on more of these travelogues. And let's go back and see some more of Quebec and Montreal. So this is not goodbye. This is not adios. This is au revoir, mes amis.